Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for taking time from your schedules to be here. And thank you for walking over to this campus center. Now, as I walked over here, this campus is so vibrant today. Outside, we were moving our glorious statue from one place to the other, our sculpture, and everybody was outside having lunch, etc. They have a theater happening, they have a play happening in the theater. Students are outside in the aqua massage. That's where I wanted to go, and someone reminded me I couldn't fit in there. I don't know what that was all about. Then you walk in and you just see all of these folk eating cake and ice cream, and we still have a line back there waiting saying, "Get this over quick, Chancellor," because we want our cake and our ice cream. Well, what a joy it is to celebrate this 5th year. This is a beautiful building, but it's more than just a building. It's something that is representative of all of you. It has your personality, your beauty, your relevance to the future. It has also significantly changed the face of this university. And someone said that I was here when it was 3 days old as Vice Chancellor making this presentation way back then when we opened the building. Well, I was here and it was wonderful then and it's wonderful now. I'm glad that Patrick reminded us that we're only 5 years old. 5 years old, I just came through that 4 years ago with one, knowing that that's a time in your life when all kinds of fascinating things are happening and you're growing in so many ways. And it requires a lot of patience. So if we can ask for anything, have patience as we grow together. Have patience as our students get used to having something as special as this building on this campus. When I invite people to this campus to visit, this building is the vision that they have in mind of what we are. And in many ways, this has been such a part of casting a new vision around this country, around this Commonwealth, around this city about the University of Massachusetts, Boston. It's amazing what something nice like this can do. You know we're more than a building. You know that we had talent here long before the campus center, but walking in here just does something to people. You know, they walk upstairs and it just messes them up because they don't expect it. When they meet you and they have a conversation with you, they don't expect you to be as intellectually competent as you are, but you are. They don't expect you to, and once they find that out, they expect you to turn into something other than what you are. They expect you now to start boasting about yourself because you're so good at what you do. But I want to thank everybody that put this together today. I want to offer special thanks to the Campus Center staff. All of you are a joy. Even when I try to get in here and you don't let me in, I still love you. When I try to take someone's room and you don't let me do that, I still love you. Because that's what it's all about here. It's about a community working together. And I love the fact that sometimes I come and I can't get into this building to use it. But I want to give special recognition to all of you, particularly Jeff. Jeff is someone who worked with me a long time ago somewhere else, and I watched him grow up and develop. He still looks the same. Nothing much has changed about Jeff, not even his work ethic. He came here and he works just as hard now as he worked then, and I'm very proud of that. He's been the director since its opening. He does not receive nearly the kind of credit that he needs or recognition that he deserves for all of his hard work on this facility. So let's give him a round of applause. And let's follow this up with a round of applause for the Campus Center staff as well. And so you don't think I come over here when you're in the middle of cake and ice cream with some message of doom, do you? You know me better than that. I thought I'd take a little time to talk to you today because when I addressed you the last time, I indicated to you that this is our moment of struggle. You know, while this is a moment of struggle in our world and in our community, this is, in fact, our time as a university community. And I just wanted to remind us of that again as we get ready for commencement, as we move forward to some of these deadlines that we've set for ourselves, and as we think about how we're going to move forward as a university. This is a moment to be seized. It is our time when our community is looking at our campus for excellence and to educate their young people affordably. It is our time when students are turning to our campus for abiding connections to the world of work. It is our time when, while so many other avenues are being squeezed out in this tightening economy, here is the University of Massachusetts, Boston, poised to do something special in the lives of students. It is our time when a community struggling to fend off chaos turns to us for direction and help. In response to that moment, we have moved forward, not backward. We have not retreated, and I'm so proud of you for that. We, as the University of Massachusetts, Boston, have committed ourselves to a strategic plan with 4 strategic priorities, and I'm going to remind you that they are to increase student access, engagement, and success, attract, develop, and sustain highly effective faculty, create a physical environment so that when people walk on this campus, they don't just say, oh, that's a nice campus center. Everywhere they look, there's something special. Everywhere they look, I know you don't see the cracks. I know some of you walk around this campus and everything is beautiful to you. But some folks see the cracks. Our students don't deserve that. Our faculty don't deserve it, neither do you. And so we want to create a physical environment that supports teaching, learning, and research. We want to enhance campus community engagement, even though we are doing this everywhere. We want to enhance it through improved organizational structures. I remember being in the room, asking the folk in the room who worked in Dorchester. The whole room stood up. It must have been 150 people. Then I said, who knew that the other person was working in Dorchester? They all sat down. We need to organize that more efficiently. That's part of our strategic processes, and we want to make that happen. We should expect that our determination to achieve these goals is going to be rigorously tested. Some folk aren't going to like the fact that you are changing as an institution, that now folk are accepting you in places we never were expected to be accepted before. Now you're invited to the room first. Now this is a first stop for people when they come to Boston. People don't like that. So that's going to be rigorously tested. We have to come through that rigor and that test stronger and better than we've ever been before. Our struggle must be fought with our guiding principles in tow. With this in mind, we have moved forward with our strategic priorities, and I want to talk about some of our accomplishments so that you can understand that there's been a lot that you've been doing this year. First of all, we're closing in on 15,000 students in our enrollment numbers coming for the fall. That's 1 year ahead of schedule. And yes, we're going to have facilities to support those numbers. We have improved our advising systems to ensure the support and the success of our students. We have succeeded in recruiting over 40 new faculty members to join us in the fall, and 20 folk are up for tenure and will get it during this spring. We have strengthened our commitment to trans and international cultural studies through the appointment of the appropriate faculty. We have scheduled public forums with candidates for the permanent post of university provost as that search moves towards its conclusion. 25 of your colleagues in a room from all different walks of life. You don't hear any drama all over the place about what's going on. They worked hard. They brought these candidates to campus. Now it's your responsibility to go out and meet them and to let us know who should be your next provost. So when you see that, show up. Take the opportunity to show up. The faculty showed up yesterday in record numbers. You do it too. This campus has raised over $49 million in extramural funding, and we're likely to break that $50 million threshold this year. Phase 1 of the master plan is in its initial stages with the start this month of some necessary infrastructure improvements. So you're going to see folk all out here on the roads. Some of you all thought when you turned on campus that was something that we were doing. Well, that's something that everybody on the point is doing, but now you're going to see dirt that belongs to you all over the place. And we're going to be so proud when the Integrated Science Building goes up, and also the Edward and Kennedy Center for the Study of the U.S. Senate building as well. Right behind that will be an academic building. How do we know? Because we significantly built our relationships in the right places. Last week, I met with members of this Massachusetts Congressional Caucus right down in D.C. Your man was sitting in the Foreign Relations room in President Obama's chair, talking to the senators about this campus. Rode me on their little roller coaster underneath from the Durkin building to the Congress. I didn't even know that existed before. Last time I tried to go to D.C., they had me sitting on the steps. This time, they were waiting for us at the airport. This is exciting times for this institution. That's not me, that's you. You got me in that door. We continue to maintain a presence at the State House, so much so that the governor tells me when I come, you don't have to tell me that anymore. When we see our legislators, they tell us, why are you back? John Ciccarelli and his staff down there all the time, many of you down there pushing the university's agenda on these folks. At the request of the mayor, I have been asked to bring your voice, the chair of the Student Success Task Force, to identify strategies for ensuring the success of Boston Public School students at the collegiate level. Asked to lead all of the other university presidents because your voice is heard. We are building relationships with other local institutions of higher education. Now, I don't know if you heard, but last Friday, President Drew Gilpin-Faust of Harvard came over here on the red line to visit us. Joined us for the opening of the Venture Development Center. She jumped on the red line at Harvard, rode past everyone, got over here and got off and came on the bus or whatever, and rolled over to the Venture Development Center, and she gave me her Charlie card. Told me that she knew the Charlie, that the red line was big enough for me. I had no more excuses about small cars and all that stuff. Those are the kind of people that say yes to us. The leader, so-called leader, of higher education world jumped on a train to be with you. I don't think that's ever happened before. That's because of you and what you're doing. Earlier this year, we hosted officials from community colleges. Now we're going to be able to link up a transfer process with them. That's something I don't even understand on the internet and all that stuff. But all I know what's going to happen is it's going to make it easier for students to transfer here. And it's going to make them know what they're supposed to do once they get here. And it's going to let them know in advance that if they're not ready to be here, go somewhere else. We want to welcome you, but we're not going to just open up our doors unless you work hard to get here. And so special things are happening. This story, your story, the University of Massachusetts Boston story, with its high-quality faculty, which is high-quality staff and students, cutting-edge research, and education for excellence is being heard locally, regionally, and nationally. I open up the Silicon Valley News, there you are. I fly into Washington, D.C., there you are. I'm in Florida, there you are. I'm in Pittsburgh, there you are. I'm in Roxbury, there you are. Talking about you all over the country. You can read about us. You can go online, UMass Boston YouTube channel, and see Barack Obama talking. And don't you know, when I'm in Washington, I YouTube him all over the place with that. Tune into the New England cable channel. Did you know that every Thursday at 4 o'clock, your faculty, one of them featured on NECN, talking about what's the affairs of state, what's going on. One of you talking about that. Download iPod U. You'll see you on there. We continue to host outstanding events, as they said, in this building. Most recently, we held a wonderful program celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Urban Scholars Program. And we raised tremendous funds upstairs in the ballroom, and it was such an exciting time. And finally, and there are so many more, but last week, 2 weeks ago, We had 30 delegates here from divided cities. They don't even talk to themselves at home. But your faculty set them down, made them talk to each other. I became an honorary member of Derry in Ireland. I'm the Derry, Ireland guy now. And then the mayors wanted to fight over me, which we had got them together. They were so divided, and one got to me first and made me an honorary member, and I didn't know that was going to upset the other one, and so now they're fighting again. But the reality is that's your faculty. This is what I mean by seizing the moment. These are the realities of the University of Massachusetts, Boston that may be missed if we let, as insiders in this process, if we miss our opportunity to achieve a new level of excellence. We have a strong university with growing reputation and a growing brand that is making real strides locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. You and I have a reason to be proud of what we've accomplished and what will be accomplished in the days to come if we remain focused on our objectives. So, as we approach the end of another wonderful academic year, I remain undaunted in my belief that this is our time. This conviction is not weakened by the economic realities we have wrestled with, are wrestling with, and will wrestle with in the days to come. I know that your 401k is now a 201k. I still can't open up the mail when it comes to my house, and it says Fidelity or something like that on it. I can't look. But we got to deal with these realities. We've adopted an approach here of transparency and campus-wide participation. That means that you should be involved. And if you're not, that's your fault. We have sought to keep the entire campus community informed and involved through various modes of communication every step of the way. And we have determined to make decisions only after we have had all the necessary information to make the right decision for the long-term good of this university. Now, you know what happened. Way back around October, all of a sudden you started hearing about 9C cuts. So 9C cuts were about $5.5 million, okay? 5% of our budget cut. All of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky. So we said, well, we're not going to let this upset the family. So we're all going to pitch in. No one had to leave this place. So in response, we quickly developed all kinds of strategies. Ellen and her team working day and night to make it happen. We created work groups. We created opportunities for vice chancellors and deans. We have all kinds of recommendations. So we thought we got through that. Then, in late January 2009, we learned that the University of Massachusetts, Boston had to share a second round. Not just one, a second round of cuts. This one was going to be $500,000. We decided to use the same strategy. Let's figure out how to use reserves. We made you cut off some of your heat in your office. Some of you all were mad at me. I know. Got it on 90 at home. No, 50 at home and 90 here. Wearing sweaters at home and crying about being cold on campus. But we cut that in half. You cooperated. We saved money. What was our bill? $6 million? And our goal is to cut it to $3 million. You know what that means when we can do that? You know what you all can take $250 and make it seem like $1 million. So imagine what you can do with $3 million. So we handled it that way. Then we said, okay, let's plan again. All of a sudden, we started planning the fiscal year 10 budget process. We started that in December 2008. Last month, we decided that we needed to have budget hearings. So we had those. We had everyone participate. We sat down with the unions. We sat with the vice chancellors and the deans, and we asked all of them to cut 6% and 9%. We asked them to do scenarios so that we'll be ready for whatever is coming in the future. This month, the provost, the vice chancellor of A&F, and I will be meeting. We'll be talking about these projections and these expense reductions and we're going to talk about what we recommend for fiscal year 10. Now, some of you have been telling me and reminding me, well, Chancellor, you told me that you were going to have this all done by May 15th. That's what I saw in the presentation that Ellen did. She made us sit there for an hour, and then at the very end, she said, May 15th, what are you going to do? Well, let me tell you, the budget is changing every day. The rules are changing every day. One day I got money, the next day I don't. One day we can use this kind of money, the next day we can't. We will announce budget decisions only after we have received all necessary information and thoroughly understand the rules. I have no intention of moving forward publicly. We're going to be doing work, but I'm not going to be making these public announcements like some other folk did that will get this campus in disarray. We have not made rash decisions to date. We refuse to make any now. We will not be making any in the future. I understand that ultimately I'm going to have to make some tough decisions. We'll make those difficult decisions regarding this campus when we have to, on the basis of accurate information, not forecasts that are not based in reality. We're not alone in making difficult decisions. I know that you're aware of that. You see what's happening in the world, in our city. You saw what happened right down the street. I refuse to put you through that. I refuse to say, one day you're gone, and then find out you wake up and hear it on the news the next day that you're not. I don't want you to go through that anxiety and that tension. So we're working to prepare a response immediately, and we will have all the numbers and the rules together. The decisions we have to make for the future are more difficult than some that we've made already. You know, we've implemented a hiring freeze. That's pretty easy. All you do is just say, freeze, right? We cut family day. You didn't even know we cut family day. We delayed traditional events. But our future is more difficult than those kinds of decisions. We're going to be making those decisions on our budget after a long, systemic, and painstaking process which will have reviewed several scenarios. Full consideration is going to be given to every human impact the decisions regarding reductions in programming and staff have on people. You are our most important resource. We aren't going to take that lightly. We will move forward only in the most humane ways, in the most caring ways possible under these circumstances. These times call us back to core principles and values to search for hope in the midst of difficulty. So today, I'm inviting this university to cling consciously to our first principles, those principles that have guided us as we have built this great university. I am inviting you to keep your eye on this student-centered enterprise. First, let's work together to make this the best commencement in the history of our campus. If you can help, don't sit on the sidelines, help. If you can give us some advice about how to do it better, don't sit on the sidelines. Don't sit on your hands, do something. No matter the division or the department, you are connected with, no matter your title, or no matter what kind of employee you are in this university, you cannot allow us to lose this legacy as a place where a sense of community is valued. All that we do in this great institution ultimately relates to the facilitation of student education and the preparation of women and men for leadership in their chosen vocation. We build to enhance and extend learning, teaching, and research. Our administrative fundraising efforts work in tandem to facilitate a transformative academic experience and environment for both students and faculty. All of our many efforts on this campus must keep in mind the student at the center. So I invite you to keep your sights on our community engagement and our public mission, which is urban and impacts the globe. There are communities in conflict around the world looking to the University of Massachusetts, Boston to navigate a path to accord. There are youth engaged in lethal combat on the streets of this and many other cities who need the resources of this university to aid in the development of structures of peace and community. There are medical communities groping for effective ways of caring for people afflicted with critical illnesses. They need this university, concentrated expertise to find breakthroughs and give directions in nursing those patients back to health. Many students in our urban elementary and secondary schools across the nation are underserved. School systems look to institutions like ours for support and partnerships. The global environment is sending strong warnings that critical boundaries are being crossed. The world needs the expertise of this and other universities to interpret the signs and provide direction. As our world grapples with global recession, governments and municipalities look for a beacon for the beams of humane and rational policy guidance as they steer the great ship of state through the narrow straits of these difficult times. So you see, what we must deal with now, with the impact of this economy on our institution, we cannot allow it to usurp us. Finally, I invite you to help fill this university with an ethic of care. It would be easy for us during these times to become very hard and cold towards each other, to regard one another as competitors for limited resources, and to forget that we are actually here for one another. I want to make clear today that the University of Massachusetts Boston is a high-level service organization, and if you do not operate from the posture of serving our students, faculty, staff, and community first, then you may actually be in the wrong place. I'm particularly interested in you who administer divisions, manage departments, or run programs. Please remember that the entities that you manage are not merely cost centers or a collection of numbers. They are people, people with needs, fears, and anxieties, people with families and responsibilities, people with real feelings, people who must understand all circumstances be handled with dignity and the same level of care for which you want to be treated. How you treat people as chancellor, as vice chancellor, as director, as dean, manager, or supervisor will generate the atmosphere for the entire university community, particularly in a high time of anxiety like this. Yet each of us, across the entire spectrum of responsibilities in this university, should be appropriately cultivating the virtue of compassion in our work, growing in our ability to feel with and for others as we accomplish our assigned task. Think about what a student needs and how you can help. Think about a campus visitor's needs and how you can help. Think about a colleague's needs and how you can help. Think about your manager's needs and how you can help. Continue forward in our strategic priorities. The pace may have changed, but the direction has not. The contraction of the economy has impacted us, and reduced revenues will likely cause us to make some necessary adjustments. One of our buildings may go from 1 million square feet to 800 square feet, 800,000 square feet. Right, Ellen? But it will not stop us, or it may not cause us to retreat. Nevertheless, I see nothing in the current circumstances of this city or this Commonwealth, of our nation or of this world, our multi-border community that makes our aim to be the premier student-centered urban public research university of the 21st century any less of a necessity, any less of a demand. I invite all of you, those that are here today in this community, students, faculty, administrators, and staff, those that are outside chilling, those who couldn't be here because they're teaching today, whether the waters of the bay that surround this peninsula be placid and calm or heaving with foaming whitecaps, I invite you to strengthen your resolve, steel your will, and encourage your spirits to press forward toward the goal that remains ever before us. I said this before, but I'm saying it now. I'm so glad to be with you. I'm so glad I look out and I see all of you with me working at this university. You're the right people at the right time, serving this institution the right way, with the right passion, for the right reasons, and I call you to keep doing that for this institution. Keep working for this institution. Don't give up on this university, even in times when people tell you to. The harder we work to do this, the more we'll keep our community. We are the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and I'm proud of that. Thank you.